All right. Good morning, everyone. I want to wish everyone a happy April Fool's Day. There's nothing fooling around about this webinar. We're so excited that you have decided to join us today. What we are going to embark upon is taking you on a journey of automation and the excitement promise that the Automation and Robotics Center promises to the Memphis community. My name is Ted Townsend. I serve a unique role in partnership with the University of Memphis and the Greater Memphis Chamber as your Chief Economic Development Officer. What does that mean? Well, I'm here to assist businesses in our market and most importantly, to attract new business to Memphis where they're going to create jobs and express capital investment in their operations here. Why is that important? Well, we live in a more and more digitized and automated world, and we have to respond to the built environment that we are augmenting every day. Our lives have considerably changed since last year in the advent of COVID, but you've seen interesting trends in the market, in industry, where we're seeing incredible explosion of e-commerce and automation. A lot of that is driving the growth that we're seeing. And I believe that for markets to not only rebound from the pandemic, but recover and become resilient, it's going to respond to the industry need. In many cases, it's producing technologies and a workforce that can deploy those technologies in meaningful ways that embark upon new technologies being created and the improvement of the human condition as a whole. The University of Memphis is very proud to host this center, and we're thankful to the partnership of the Greater Memphis Chamber that made this all possible. So today, we're going to take you on a journey to understand the why, the how, the what, and most importantly, a call to action so that you can participate in this exciting center that's the first of its kind in our market. So we're thrilled to be able to host you today, and we have an exciting panel of folks that we're going to tell you and talk you and walk you through the why, the how, the what, and what you can do most importantly to help us advance this center, advance the technology, the adoption of it, and most importantly, produce a workforce that's going to be attractive not only to the employers that are here today, but also those that we're targeting and hoping to attract to the greater Memphis region. If you look at FedEx and Amazon, they're highly automated. FedEx is spending over $1 billion in modernizing their world hub. We actually just overtook Hong Kong as the highest density air cargo airport in the world. That has been a battle between Memphis and Hong Kong over the years, but because of e-commerce, that has placed us in the #1 spot. So more product that is traveling to parts of this world are coming through Memphis, Tennessee. That's an incredible opportunity for us. And just in the last 2 weeks, if you look at the project announcements that we've been able to secure, you've got 2 companies that are in emerging fields. One, Mullen Automotive, who is an all-electric vehicle manufacturer, as well as Alphatech, Spine, they're a medical device manufacturer. Both of these companies based in California have now selected Memphis. Mullen will produce their first assembly facility in the US. They will employ 800 people and invest over $500 million in their operation here. You can imagine with the electric vehicle manufacturing that it's going to be highly automated. This robotics center will be producing future engineers and professionals that will work at Mullen Automotive and producing cars for the first time in Memphis since 1958 when Ford pulled out. Alphatech, a medical device company in the spinal area. Obviously, we have deep roots in the medical device industry. They saw Memphis as a destination of choice for their first production facility outside of California. We're thrilled with this, but both of those operations will be highly automated. There will be robotics. And we hope that we can meet that demand of almost collectively 900 jobs that are going to come into the Memphis market over the next 3 to 5 years. That's just 2 projects. We have many more in the pipeline that we have to respond to, and we're going to consistently apply a lot of pressure on the supply side of this. The way we meet that demand is to have something like this center in our university. The University of Memphis is the second largest public university in the state. We are striving to become a Carnegie R1 research university. That means we are conducting research at the highest levels nationally. There are only 131 of those institutions across the US, and we are on our way to becoming one of those. That puts us on par with MIT, Stanford, and do not chuckle because we are on our way there. This center is going to help us get there. We're a community right now, as I said, facing the headwinds of a pandemic, but I believe that we are seeing the turn. And what's encouraging is that we have already recovered over 64% of the job loss that was experienced through March and April of just last year. We still have a high unemployment rate of 6.6%, but we are seeing that trend down. We are looking to acquire jobs that are higher quality, and certainly automation and robotics is an emerging field that we feel we can be best positioned for in the future. So with that, let's start the webinar, and I will introduce our colleague from the Greater Memphis Chamber, who just left to join the Black Business Association as their president and CEO. But prior to that, he spent 15 years with the Greater Memphis Chamber, and most recently as senior vice president of workforce development, Ernest Strickland. Ernest?
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you, Ted. Yeah, first day on the new job, and what am I doing? Working for the old job. Old habits are hard to break. But seriously, it's a honor and a privilege to be here this morning to discuss what is really exciting. You know, a vehicle has a windshield which is larger than the rearview mirror. You know, so you want to make sure you're looking forward. But occasionally, it's a smart idea to glance at the rearview mirror just to see how far you've come. And when I think about the rearview mirror of Memphis, I look at how our community firmly established ourselves as America's distribution center. We really utilized and leveraged a robust system and network of road, rail, river, and runway to become America's distribution center. But that was never the end goal. The end goal was to take those assets and further leverage them to become America's manufacturing center, where you have higher job opportunity, higher income associated with those jobs, and a more fulfilled economy. And so today we're excited about the prospects and the promises of the Automation and Robotics Center at the University of Memphis, because it squarely positions us to take advantage of and realize, those ideas that we had initially when we established ourselves as America's distribution center. And so with my new job, I'm even more excited because Black-owned companies have traditionally really operated in the spaces where you have low barriers to entry. But with my association and connection to the Robotics Center, I'll definitely be encouraging many more entrepreneurs, Black entrepreneurs, to consider and get involved with establishing firms in the automation, robotic, and just manufacturing space altogether. And so I like to share just how far we've come and take a stroll down memory lane, if you will, as it relates to the Automation and Robotics Training Center. If you think about FedEx, and Ted mentioned FedEx, the announcement that they made regarding modernizing their hub really triggered a sense of urgency from the community to be working towards a strategy to help support that modernization as far as a workforce point of view. It really triggered several conversations within the community from the University of Memphis, Southwest Tennessee, of course, at the Chamber. We had conversations with Tech 901 Code Crew. In fact, the University of Memphis convened a meeting of community stakeholders for us to have that conversation to discuss how we can support FedEx and how we can position Memphis for not only investments that were being made at FedEx, but we knew that many other companies would start making similar investments in automation. And so we wanted to be prepared as a community to support and to take advantage of what was happening. Simultaneously, Southwest Tennessee Community College, they reached out to us about a facility that they have in Fraser, the Gill campus, right around the corner from Nike and Amazon. They said, hey, we have a center that's underutilized. You know, what if we repurposed it for the purpose of instituting training, robust training in automation and robot type of skills. You know, individuals are going to need to know how to install, how to maintain, how to service robots. And so what if we looked at the Gill campus as a place where this could take place? And so those conversations were ongoing. Well, fortunately for Memphis, the Delta Regional Authority put out an announcement. They said, hey, we want to support workforce within the Delta region, and you should take a look at an opportunity to secure some of these DRA fundings to support your workforce activities. So we contacted the DRA, we asked about, you know, the requirements, and we asked really how can we separate ourselves and differentiate our application. We didn't want to be just another application that they were reviewing. We wanted to really, you know, put our best foot forward. And they pointed us to a previous grant that they had provided to an organization in New Orleans. The Greater New Orleans Inc. is the organization down there. So we contacted the GNO and we said, hey, tell us about your recent award with the Delta Regional Authority and what really made your application a success. They shared with us that the secret sauce was collaboration. Many organizations were looking at applying, but they decided to bring together a group that would approach training collectively. So we did the exact same thing. The University of Memphis, Southwest Tennessee Community College, the Chamber, we all decided that it would be best to have one application that shows there's collaboration amongst the community. And that's exactly what we did. We looked for other external partners. Of course, any application that is desired to produce a robust workforce, you have to have involvement from industry. So we reached out to Nike, we reached out to Amazon. We were already in conversations with FedEx. They work very closely with the University of Memphis. And so those three anchor employers and strong brands really provided a lot of insights for us. Not only did they provide insights as far as what the training should look like, we wanted to engage them early on because guess what? They're going to be the ones who hire individuals who graduate from these programs. And so it just makes sense to include and integrate input from employers early on, as opposed to building something that may or may not meet their specifications. And so we were successful in securing a grant, about a $1 million grant, to stand up the Advanced Automation and Robotics Center with the University of Memphis taking the lead, again, with Southwest Tennessee Community College playing a role, as well as other training providers, all playing a role to provide a level of training that will support this Center of Excellence ecosystem that we are now embarking upon here in Memphis. And so that is kind of how this all came together. Again, it helps us get one step closer to what we already knew we wanted to be when we grew up. We wanted to grow up to be America's manufacturing center. And thanks to the work that's taken place and the work that we have all worked hard to secure, we're one step closer to realizing that goal. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I'll turn it over to my good friend, Kevin, who has really done a yeoman's job in making sure that we hit our deadlines and we really get things going in the right direction. Kevin?
Yes, hello. Wait for the video to catch up here. Yes, no. So we're having a slight technical problem with our video at the moment. There it goes. So welcome. My name's Kevin Barisso. This is the Automation and Robotics Lab here at the University of Memphis in the Department of Engineering Technology, which is a part of the Herf College of Engineering. Welcome and thank you for joining us today. I have Mike Witt from Method Tool. I'll talk a little bit more about them in a few minutes. Thank you, Ernest and Ted, to kind of reiterate what they were discussing. The goal, from my point of view, for this center is, as Ted mentioned, the training of the future engineers, the future integrators who will be helping Nike, Amazon, FedEx, the automotive manufacturers, the biomedical manufacturers here in the area to implement and use robotics and automation, but it's also to help train the hourly workers. It's not just about the engineering staff, it's also about the rest of that workforce and being able to have a diverse, technically competent and talented workforce available so that as additional companies, as Ted was alluding to, are trying to decide where should they locate, where should they relocate. The goal is to have Memphis really be at the top of that list so that we are able to continue to drive down the unemployment rate. The general phase or the plan for the center overall is that we are, as you can see here on the screen, we're going to deliver some basic robotic skills. We're using Yaskawa Robotics, and the reason for that, a lot of the reason for that is that FedEx, as you may have seen in some of their press releases and some of the YouTube videos, has selected Yaskawa for some of their efforts. And so we want to be able to support FedEx. FedEx is a great corporate partner and a great corporate neighbor, and has done a lot to support the university. They've done a lot to help support my efforts here in the lab at the college level. And so I obviously want to be able to reciprocate that ability and let them and be able to support them. And so the question of how can we better provide the training that they specifically need was part of the thing that was discussed that Ernest mentioned in terms of that meeting with Southwest, the Chamber, GMAC Workforce, Code Crew, Tech 901, University of Memphis, so on and so forth, and the need to be able to have operators trained to be able to interact day to day with the robots was something that they needed, and it was something that they needed more than just 2 or 3 of. Most facilities, you need 2 or 3 engineers that have the robotics training to oversee projects, and that's fine, but that doesn't help the workforce a whole lot. It's the hourly employees, it's the maintenance employees that really are supporting the day-to-day operations of robotics and automation in any corporation. And so a lot of the goal of the grant that we went after and were lucky enough to receive was to train not only the engineers, but that larger workforce. The plan is to, as we continue through the project and the grant life, to get the hardware in, get training going, and then eventually long-term be able to actually have additional brands. I like to say that I am technology agnostic and brand agnostic. I like Yaskawa. They are a wonderful company. The robot you see right behind me here was very, very generously donated by Yaskawa. FedEx covered the shipping to get it from Dayton down to Memphis, and Eaton, who makes electrical transformers, among other things, very generously donated a transformer that allows us to power the unit. But at the same time, I don't want to alienate companies here in the area by saying, hey, we only deal with Yaskawa. We love Yaskawa. They are a great company and we are going to support them. But if there are needs for local companies, we are going to try to meet their needs as well. And if they chose to go with a different brand for whatever reason, we are going to do everything in our abilities to support them. The other thing that we are going to be doing as part of the grant is, as you can see on the third bullet here, we're going to be providing to underemployed and unemployed within the Mid-South and to veterans as well who have priority, an $1,800 week-long training course. This will allow them to get to a point where they are extremely competent with the hardware. They're able to use it. They're able to provide the job skills needed by local industry, FedEx and others, to be able to work the robots, interact with the robots. This training is not to make them the engineer, but that day-to-day employee who, when the robot has an error message come up, understands what the error is, what to do about it. Do I need to go get an engineer? Do I need to go get maintenance? Can I just clear the problem and reset it? They will have that understanding. They'll have that comfort level and that competency that not only do they feel comfortable doing it, but their employer feels comfortable allowing them to do that. The final component of the grant will be this, the fourth bullet here, the Industry Education Advisory Group, because I think it was about 5 years ago, a report came out that indicated the region needs to do a better job of ensuring that the efforts from education are meeting what industry in the area really needs. And I know on my part, I've not been necessarily as proactive and good about doing that as I could be. And so this industry education advisory group will help solve that problem. I mentioned that Yaskawa donated the robot you see here. One of the things that we are set up to do, which is unusual, I feel, for education in general, is we are able to very quickly pivot and meet the needs of companies here in the area. The way we do this is through a network of partnerships and positive, strong relationships. And Yaskawa donating these robots is an example of one of those relationships that we've developed and we continue to try to encourage. Another example of that is Method Tool, and they brought down one of their offerings, and I'm going to let Mike talk about that for a couple minutes now.
Hi, thanks, Kevin. So Method Tool is Yaskawa's education integrator. We have products like this one here and others that are geared towards Kevin and Chris Rogers at Southwest Tennessee to help facilitate teaching students how to interact with a robot. It's very industry standard, real industrial robot, real industrial components. At our heart, we are integrators. We are a custom machine builder, a integrator of custom equipment. And this is an extension of what we do. So we're happy to, come and support Yaskawa, support the University of Memphis, and help you guys grow.
And we very much appreciate it. You can see a picture here, and we're going to show you in a little bit the cart that they brought down. And so if we can go to the next slide, please, Kimberly. One of the things and part of the reason I was excited to be involved in this webinar is that I want your help. I need your help. This is not something that I can do in isolation on my own. I need everyone in the audience to be spreading the word about the grant and the fact that we're going to be offering this free training to people here in the Mid-South. If you are unemployed, definitely come talk to us. We are setting up a website. It will be at, and I apologize, I forgot to include it in the slide deck, but it's www.memphis.edu/AARC. So nice, simple, easy to remember, hopefully. You can go to there. We're going to have registration available for that. As if you're representing a company on this webinar, we want you to be involved in this industry education alignment group. It's like I said, it's important and something I have not done enough of in the past, and this is my attempt to try to correct for some of that, to give local industry and not even local industry, but national industry, the ability to have a say in what we're doing, how we're doing it, to make sure that as a member of the Department of Engineering Technology, I'm providing current and relevant information to my students that will allow them to be employable and something that is wanted, needed, desired by industry in general. That's the reason I'm here. I'm notorious for asking anyone and everyone for donations. If you have equipment you want to donate, we would love to have it. Yaskawa was great. Eaton was great. FedEx was great in terms of providing that shipping, but we need more. Arguably, we can never have enough, but the truth is that as the technology continues to advance and change and update, we don't have the capability of following and keeping up with that. And so we look to our industry partners, we look to our foundation friends to provide that level of support so that we're able to continue to provide that current and relevant information that the students need to be able to get the jobs. Talk to us about helping to train your workforce. Long term, we would like to be able to also do proof of concept type work out of the AARC. And so if you have some projects that you don't have the capability or the capacity or the bandwidth to handle, this may be a way for you to get that work done at a lower cost than it would be to yourself. We would normally interact and work with companies like Method Tool to be able to have an understanding of what is going to be happening and then providing that easy handoff so that you the company are able to then go and make the purchases of the hardware, implement the solution once the proof of concept has proven to be valid. So that's all I have for now. I think we're going to go back to Ted next. Thank you for listening to my little pitch.
Thanks very much, Dr. Barisso. We really appreciate that. This is an incredible asset to have in our community. I want to get down to the brass tacks of this, and I certainly want to encourage those that there is a Q&A function here for the attendees. Please, we invite this to be interactive. Submit your questions there, and we will get to every one of them as time allows. Should you have a question that we don't get to, please submit it via email, and we'll be sure to respond and follow up with you. But back to brass tacks, Dr. Barisso, can you give us an example of how you see the AARC working directly with industry? The machines are there. They may have names, I don't know what to call them, but I'm sure they're going to move at some point. But the practical and applied aspect of having the center here as it relates to industry and how those machines are being used, give us a sense of how that connects from an instruction standpoint and then interacting that to an applied nature with an industry partner here in Memphis.
Sure. So, yeah, I guess I did neglect to mention and introduce them. So Yaskawa did very generously donate 2 arms, like I mentioned. The one right behind me is Nancy holding the little tiger, and the one in the background behind Mike that kind of looks like it's going through his head in the picture is Dale. And so we happen to be King of the Hill fans. And so we ended up with Dale and Nancy as names for the arms, because the reality is, yeah, they all look the same. They're in different locations in the lab. And when I'm telling the students to go do something on a specific robot, sometimes it's nice and it's easier, and the students appreciate and sometimes have fun with being able to have names that have sort of humanized the technology a little, and eases some of the angst that may be involved. My classes are very much applied and hands-on, and so I don't have them turned on because the controllers are quite loud and it's a lot of background noise. They're designed to be in industry. These are not devices that are meant for an educational environment. They are meant to be plopped down in a factory, producing product, helping to produce product. And so they are robust, they are accurate, they are repeatable, they are arguably dangerous. These are collaborative robots, and so they've been designed to be a little bit safer, but I will have the students go through basic programming on them. And then once they're comfortable with it, they then have to solve a problem. I traditionally have end of semester projects, and so we have a number of projects going on this semester. One of them will be with the robot behind me, the two robots behind me from Yaskawa, where we're going to do machine tending. And so we're not going to bring in a CNC lathe up here into the lab. We just don't have the room, but we are going to have a simulation of one. We're going to build it out of materials that were donated, ironically enough, by FedEx once again, very generously. We got a bunch of structural material, aluminum from them, that we're going to build up this mock-up of a CNC lathe. And then we're going to have the robot actually load, unload, conduct quality inspections on it. And all of these actions, all of these activities are exactly what you find in industry day in and day out, where the robot is not replacing a human in terms of a cheaper way to get the job done, but providing a way to get the human out of an ergonomically poor location. So the repetitive motion syndrome issues are being removed. Being able to hold something that's at an awkward angle is being alleviated from the employee, so that those dangerous repetitive tasks that humans don't enjoy doing, don't necessarily do as well, whether it's because of precision issues or just getting tired. I mean, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week is rough if you're putting tiny devices in parts into pins into parts, and the robot's not going to have that problem. The robot's not going to have to worry about as they sneeze, did they just destroy a $2,000 part, whatever the problem is. And so we're not only trying to train the engineers to decide when and where the robot should be used, but we're also going to be training through the AARC the employees to be able to interact and use them and understand them, and appreciate why that robot is there, that it's not trying to supplant their position in their job. It's giving them hopefully a better job, one that requires a little bit more action, interaction, thinking, a little bit more stimulating mentally. And I'm not talking about positions that require bachelor's degrees, master's degrees, PhDs. I'm talking about people that have gone only to community college, or may not have gone to college at all for whatever reason, that don't have that mindset to be in education. Not everyone does. There are a lot of very talented people out here in the mid-South that are able to do complex jobs, but they just don't have a bachelor's degree. It's not that they're not smart enough. It's they don't have that desire. We want to be able to supply them with the knowledge that will allow them to do that. And these robots and the carts that Mike will be providing allow us to do that. So hopefully that answers those questions.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. And again, as a reminder for those that are attending, please use the Q&A portion of this webinar. We'd love to hear your thoughts or even your insights. Please share those as well. But please load that into the Q&A section and we'll get to that. Something you mentioned in terms of the engagement in the community, like I mentioned earlier, the call to action for not just interaction and participation, but obviously support. Fundraising is a part of that, of course. We have only gotten through this through the generous donations, as well as the collaborative effort that went through in securing a grant that gives capacity, obviously, for us to do that. But sustainability is really critical as well. You mentioned consumables. I would just like to get a sense of a pro forma on what you see in terms of consumables that will be necessary to continue the advancement of instruction for our students, but also allowing the AARC to really plug into operations of private industry that's here in the city as well.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, this is a Department of Labor grant that allowed us to do the initial purchase of the hardware, the initial purchase of the training. So the one thing I neglected to mention previously, the training that we're going to be offering to people here in the Mid-South is going to result in a certification that they can take to any employer that will be recognized that they have the skills and the competencies for using Yaskawa's hardware. And so part of that certification that they received was me getting certified to train in the Yaskawa Academy method of training, so that that anyone that receives the training from me is getting the same level, same quality. Along those lines, though, there are needs to update the training, needs to update the parts that are being used. If we're doing simple projects where the quote unquote customer wants to hold something other than what we have, the training carts that Method Tool provides have a number of predefined shapes, but maybe there's a biomed company that has a different shape. We need the ability to make additional grippers, fingers for the grippers that hold the parts correctly. We will have to do maintenance on the software and the computers that are being used in the background to help control the robots. All of that stuff, unfortunately, as we all know, costs money, and it's ongoing money. It's not something that we can pay for once and necessarily be done with it. With the robot and the cart, yes, it's the ancillary things that allow us to provide the experiences and the solutions that local industry needs, so that we are able to adapt as necessary, that cause us the need for additional expenditures over time. And the grant, as you can imagine, it's a U.S. Department of Labor grant. They are not just an open bank account and every time I want something else, they're going to give me more money. They expect me to find ways to engage local industry, and that's what Ted's referring to about this call to action. And so something as simple as, hey, we've got these boxes here that we can use for material handling, palletizing activities that the students are required to do. But, accidents happen. The box gets damaged, the box gets crushed. Over time, we're in Memphis, it's humid. The boxes are going to start to deteriorate and get soft, and it's going to become a problem to be able to grab them with the robot. And so we need to be able to replace the boxes. Is it a big expense? No, but it is still an expense. Conveyors, PLCs, programmable logic controllers, which are the brains that allow all this automation to talk to each other and work seamlessly, need to be purchased, need to be updated. The software to program those needs to be funded. And so those are the types of ongoing consumables that I was referring to.
Great, thank you for that. And this I'm going to throw out to either of you or Ernest. Return on investment is important. We obviously have expectations from both the Department of Labor with respect to the grant, but also our partners who have donated. I'm sure they want to see a return on investment. If any of you could answer that, perhaps in your vision, what a return on investment looks like, and maybe even more broadly, what does success look like now that we have this this center? What do you want to see come out of this in your dream scenario in the next few years?
Ernest, do you want to go first?
Sure. I'll take a stab at it. So for me, return on investment means a couple things. One, for the individuals who will be able to go through the program, exit with high-paying job and career that they can, move into, further supporting their families. That's, immediate return on the investment. Helping individuals in our community to improve their lots in life. Secondary, I see a return as being ensuring that Memphis becomes more competitive as a community. We're able to demonstrate that we have the capacity to, one, recognize where the trends are, two, stand up programs such as these in order to provide solutions for a growing demand. That is important as far as how we're perceived by the market, and companies that look to be in communities where they can have that type of support will start to recognize what we're doing in Memphis. And so this effort will not only provide an immediate return to the individuals, but long term, it helps improve our standing, making us more competitive, which will cause other companies to want to be here in our marketplace.
Great, thank you.
So yeah, I think Ernest has pretty much hit on all the ideal high points on that as far as that return on investment and what is success. I would add to that probably that in my mind, immediate success and return on investment would be a waiting list for every class offering that we have of the training, where if we've got 3, 4, 5, 10, 15 people who weren't able to get signed in early enough for any given training session, and we have a fairly aggressive plan for later this summer as far as what training is and how often it's going to be offered. It's going to be offered here at the University of Memphis as well as on the Southwest campus. And so both schools are going to get some great exposure, and people will have an opportunity to explore both campuses as a result of that. And so I would love to see all those sessions filled. And I think long-term success would be for companies to actually publicly state, yes, the reason we moved to Memphis in part was because of the AARC, because of the training that was done to ensure that the workforce that is available is trained at a level with the skills we need, the skills we want, that it only made sense for us to come to Memphis and not go to wherever that other place that they were considering might have been.
Yeah, let me add to that. Let's not forget our existing companies who have been with us. They've invested over the years. They get the benefit of being more competitive in their respective marketplace by having access to this type of center that will generate the skills that they will be able to hire for to make them more competitive as well. And so it's, the advantages that we will have as far as recruitment, but being competitive also means that our existing companies now have an advantage as well.
Great. We did get a couple of questions in. Yay. All right. So I'm going to try to get through these very quickly because we do have something special at the end of this that we want to make sure everyone qualifies for and they stay on for it. Please stay on for a few more minutes. The first question, if I may pose it on behalf, it comes from John Farrell. Do you have robotic programming software that you partner with? I represent a company that may be willing to partner, and he's got a link in there to PowerMill robot. So do you have a robotic programming software partner?
So yes, at this point, we are planning to, as part of the grant, we're purchasing seats of MotoSim, which is Yaskawa's online or offline, excuse me, programming solution. However, I would very much welcome you to reach out to me with that information on your solution, because as I mentioned, I try to be technology and vendor agnostic. I don't want my students to come out of their degree or out of the training thinking there's only one answer, because the reality is, as this gentleman had mentioned, there are other solutions out there. And so I'd love to have discussions with you about it, and anyone else in the audience that wants to try to partner. We would love to be able to do that, because at the end of the day, I'm here to try to help provide a future workforce that will have the skills necessary. And sometimes that skill is in a specific software package or a specific hardware platform. And I want to be able to have the students have exposure to all those.
Great. Thank you for that. And Matt Walker from the U of M team will be capturing this, and I'm sure he'll follow up with John Farrell and get you connected.
Right.
Thanks for that question, John. Really appreciate it. The next one is up from Michael Gallagher. He states, our company, Centro Inc., is a distributor and integrator with an automation and robotics division, which includes Yaskawa Motoman robots, grippers, and other automation devices. I would like to learn how to interact with the AARC in the future. Thank you for that, Michael.
So, Michael, I would say the easiest way to interact is to get in touch with myself, get in touch with Sandra Howell at the chamber. Matt will send me your information. If you would include your email address, we will reach out to you, but be a part of that industry education alignment group. That will be the fastest, easiest way to interact with it, but and the least expensive from your point of view. If you're looking to invest a little bit, we need additional hardware. We need additional carts. Mike would love to sell me another cart. Some additional tooling, some additional functionality on that cart. And so those are other ways, and I am happy to have, as we'll have Method Tool, and we'll have Yaskawa and other partners' names all over the place during that training, so that people are aware of where stuff came from. I'd love to have Centros as part of that, and like I said, anyone else in the audience who wants to become involved, please. I'm shameless. I will ask for anything. I will ask for everything, including the moon. And I want to engage with you. I want to represent you. I want you to be represented, and for everyone to win as a result of it.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you for that. And that's an incredible opportunity. We appreciate that. We want that kind of interaction from the community to truly plug in and get involved. You've mentioned several times you're technology agnostic. We do have a question here from Jerry Walling. What brand robots are you considering, maybe for future build out of the AARC?
A lot of that will honestly depend on the industry education alignment group and what are the brands that local companies are needing. Yeah. If there's a need for FANUC, we will include FANUC. If there's a need for ABB, we'll include ABB. If there's a growing need for additional Yaskawa options and technological solutions, we will expand on that. If Mitsubishi makes a huge sale in the area, we will support them. It's what do local industry need to be able to be successful? Because if you're successful, we're successful.
Right, exactly. So I would just invite that for those that have attended, interaction is key, information share is key. If you are aware of robotics or automation technology and hardware that's coming into the Memphis market that we need to capture and be aware of, please reach out to either the Greater Memphis Chamber or the University of Memphis. This is a collaborative, and there are many intersections where the two entities are working together. But in every one of those cases, it's fully intended to make sure that we're meeting the demands of the market that's built around us. I just encourage you to continue to reach out to us. We have, folks in advancement and our corporate strategy council at the U of M. And then obviously the Greater Memphis Chamber is all about working with the existing industry here and partnering with them so that they can continue to grow their footprint here in the Memphis market. So we don't have any other questions in the queue. I'm going to pause there because we have a really, I think, an exciting and unique opportunity for a drawing for those who did attend today. And Dr. Bristow, I'm going to let you do the honors with one of the robots.
So thank you. Yeah, thank you for joining us, those in the audience. One of the things that we are able to do, like I mentioned, is through our relationships and interactions with various companies, we're able to very quickly pivot and very quickly respond to your needs here locally. And so as an example sort of that, Method Tool very generously volunteered to drive down on their own dime and bring one of the carts that we're going to be using in the training. And so if Matt, if you could kind of scoot around so we can see the cart. So this is one of their training carts, and we've put a little bingo wheel on it. And so we are going to let the robot draw a couple of winners.
Awesome.
You're not paying for this?
Not yet.
I didn't know we were driving down on our own dime.
Well, you're welcome to donate and leave it here. We will gladly take it and give it a wonderful home, and we can call it Bobby.
I was going to say, we haven't picked a name for this one yet. So.
And so for those that are watching, is the speed a little slow? Yes. It's in more of a safe mode because we're standing right next to it. Is it able to run at a full speed that you'd see in industry? Yes. This is not, once again, an educational device. This is an industrial device in an educational environment. And so our winner is
075.
All right. Kimberly, I'll let you figure out and map who 075 was. How many more do we want to do?
Well, congratulations to Michael Gallagher on winning that prize.
See, if you pose a question, you win. That's amazing.
Exactly.
Let's do one more.
Yeah. All right.
As they say, robots don't lie. There should be some kind of music. I don't know. Jeopardy countdown music. Something. Tiger fight song. I don't know.
062.
62.
All right, Matt, who is that?
Looks like Christine Esri is our winner of that one. So
excellent.
Kimberly
Congratulations.
Kimberly and I will reach out to you in the coming days about your prize, and congratulations.
All right. Thank you for joining us from the Robotics and Automation Labs. Ted?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, someone was doing BINGO. So we've all heard that. Now it's going to forever be in my head the rest of the day. So so thank you very much, Mark, for that. We didn't have the soundtrack to the robot, but now we have that in our heads. Dr. Bristow, Ernest, thank you all. Bobby, thank you very much for participating in today. I mean, you really brought this center to life. I think for those that attended today, they see how this is going to be a differentiator for the greater Memphis region and set us apart from other markets. We're going to equip people with skills that are going to transform their lives, and it's going to transform the community as a whole. And we're very grateful for this collaboration to come together and all the support that's already gone into it. And we look forward to future support of these endeavors. This is what happens when you bring academia and the private sector together. It's really special, and we want to see more of it. We want to scale it and grow it, because every time we do, it impacts one of our students, and it equips them for a very successful career. And that's what we want. That's what our mission is collectively as a whole. And hopefully those folks come to work for your operations. So with that, thank you again for your attendance today. Please look out for more partner forum opportunities where you're going to learn more about the exciting events at the university. and how we're partnering with the community to make Memphis a better place for all. So with that, everyone have a great afternoon. Be healthy, be well, get your shots. Let's open this thing back up. Thanks very much. Take care.
Thank you.
Take care.